As a warehouse manager, your day-to-day is putting out fires nonstop. All the accountability falls onto your shoulders, and you need to be the person that figures out those problems and eliminates them. We're going to go through the 5 biggest challenges that you face day to day and how to improve those. One of the hardest parts running a facility is keeping your inventory in check. Anywhere from 2 to 5% can lead to a terrible inventory and year end. And at the end of that, you have to deal with all those numbers and answer to why you've had that high percentage. Looking at what's happening, where things are getting placed, and how to improve that within the team is one of the hardest things, but one of the most important things when you're looking at running your facility. Everyone hates inventory, and there's no question about it. If you're doing month or year end, it's always a challenge to get those numbers to balance out. And it's always not balancing at the end of the day. It's one of those things that always your uppers are going to be looking at and making sure that that number is lower and lower each year. And it's so difficult to actually hit that number and making sure that that is as low as possible. So some of the reasons why this actually happens is having different SKUs or products in different areas. Making sure that those products are actually stored in one centralized location so you know where that is. The other is incomplete processes. Looking at how everything works from start to finish is one of the biggest things, and setting your team up for success, not letting your team just come up with whatever process that they seem to think works, going in there and tweaking it and making sure that those steps are the right steps. And then the last is setting them up for success with better technology, making sure that they have good scan guns, barcodes, and good overall technology to make sure that they can figure out where things are going to go and where they should be at any moment. Here's a process that's worked really well for a bunch of our clients. When you have your goods coming into your docks, that is the one and only time you can make sure what is actually in your facility. Good counts, good technology to help make sure that's inputted into the system, and making sure that those goods that are on the bill of lading are the actual goods that you need. From there, you can then put all those other processes in place to make sure that they're going to one centralized location. You can store them there, you know that they're there, but it all starts off with that first place when it comes into your facility. If you're not doing that, you're missing out on a massive opportunity to make sure that all your counts actually add up. From there, I'd be looking at accountability, making sure that your team is held accountable on what they're actually doing and where things are going. Now, it's not just about saying to them, hey, you got to make sure that this is there, or, there's some repercussions. It's about allowing them to see why there are these repercussions. When you don't get that good into the right spot or the right count, what happens is here's all the things that are repercussions because of that. So now we'll have more shrinkage, which could then affect your bonus individually. By showing your team why it's important to get the right count, the goods in the right spot, you can show them how it's actually going to increase their bonus at the end of the year. By doing this, you can show them, hey, if we have lower shrinkage numbers, the right product in the right place, that helps our bottom line. And at the end of the day, when it's bonus time, that puts more money in their pockets. The second biggest challenge you're facing is loss and theft. This is one of those things that no one talks about in the industry, but everyone faces it, especially theft. It's one of those things that you have employees or other outside parties that are trying to steal your goods or actually stealing your goods, and you don't even realize it for months at a time. I've been at facilities personally where this has been going on for a long time, and no one realized until they went to go grab that actual inventory and say, where is that? And then it kicks off a whole investigation. No one wants to get to that level, and no one wants to be that person who's accountable for that. So one of the biggest things you got to look at when you're looking at your inventory is how do we eliminate that, and what are those good steps to actually eliminate that? And the biggest thing that most people are missing out on, even before it starts, is just documenting things. Documenting what's coming in right as it comes off the dock. Where is it going? So that you can find it easily. When it leaves the facility, making sure that that's documented also. But on top of that, when something actually is damaged or broken, doesn't matter what that is, also documenting that, because it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, that pallet over here, we're going to just write that off. It's not a big deal. But all that adds up. And when you start looking for things and trends, it's harder to realize, oh, hey, we actually have an issue over here because we're missing 10 pallets and it wasn't because of damage. You don't want to be second guessing in that scenario. You want to know for sure that here is the problem and we need to figure out a solution and figure out what's going on right away because you're losing money every single minute. So there isn't one silver bullet that's actually going to fix your operations for shrinkage, for theft, any of that. However, there is one that really has helped me and then also the customers we have dealt with. And that is getting rid of the it's okay policy. And what I mean by that is, oh, it's okay that that pallet isn't here. You know what? We could grab it from over here and we'll get this load out the door. Everything's going to be fine. Not a big deal. And as you continue to do that, you're starting to set yourself up for failure because now when you go to look for that load, you're like, oh yeah, that's okay because I know I stole it from over here. And you start playing these games in your own head that you don't even realize that there could be a bigger problem lower down the line that you don't even know about. By getting rid of, hey, we can't find this pallet, that's okay. We'll go steal that good from over here and ship it out. That is the first thing to get rid of. And really start working towards those processes and policies of, okay, so that's not there. Can we do this? Is it well documented? And what are we going to do to fix this going forward? So that documentation and procedure side of things is what's going to really help your team, but also yourself and set your team and yourself up for success in the future. Number 3 is employee turnover. For every employee that leaves your facility and you have to hire someone new, it costs on average $18,000 to replace them. If we look at running a facility, we know that there's so much turnover. It's so hard to keep people and keep them engaged. And that is one of the hardest things as a manager or a supervisor at a warehouse. So when you look at that, you have to start really analyzing how are we keeping these people motivated, working well, working as a team. And it really starts from top down. Keeping the team accountable is one of the biggest things. Everyone who's pushing the right direction is going to help out each other because they know that that is the end goal. So making sure that the team knows that we're trying to get X amount of trucks at the door, or we're trying to improve efficiencies of putting away these loads. Those things, just allowing the team to just be part of it and know what your goals are for the month, the week, the year is going to help you out so much. One of the biggest things that everyone knows is inadequate compensation. It's one of those things that you have to look at who's on your team and those key players. If they leave for an extra few dollars down the road to another warehouse, how is that going to affect your day-to-day operations? You really got to look at that and be like, is it worth it to pinch every penny I can with this person? Or is it worth it to give that extra couple bucks here or there to make sure that they stay on the team, stay engaged, and stay motivated? It's one of those things that it hurts so much when they actually leave and go somewhere else. The other one is limited growth opportunities. When you're looking at what your team is, who they are, and where they want to be, there are some people that are going to be some key people on your team that don't care about becoming a supervisor, manager, any of that stuff. They just want to come in, work, get the day done, and go home. That's fine. You really have to know your team and know those types of people. But you're going to have other people that have ambitions to raise above and start climbing the ladder to hopefully become a supervisor, manager, or even in your role. So what you have to do there is start recognizing those key players, and early on too. You'll know those leaders as they're coming up and start fostering them a little bit more. Give them the guidance, give them the 5 minutes of your day to give them the insights and just allow them to know that they're being seen, heard, and that there is that opportunity eventually as they continue to grow and succeed at the company. The last one is lack of recognition and tough working conditions. Tough working conditions is a tough one because at the end of the day, what you have is what you have. You can only do so much of your facility and be like, all right, you know what? We're going to put air conditioning in all the areas, even though our doors are open all the time. Not going to happen. So that's one of those things that you just have to put aside. But it's the small things. It's the small wins that help your team and show that you actually care for your team, which will help productivity. One of the biggest things I love doing is when it's super hot out, over 100, getting coolers full of Gatorade and ice, water, all that stuff, jamming it on the floors. Everyone is so appreciative of that. And it goes so far. It's one of those things that you don't even realize how far it goes. By doing that, it's so big. And I suggest doing those small things. And it doesn't even cost you that much, but it's going to be exponential growth on your side that you will see in the future. Lack of recognition. That's one of those things that as you're walking by, you're going to be on the floor here and there. You just throw out the, hey, that was pretty awesome. I saw you do that. It's the small things like I just previously said that go so far. Everyone really appreciates being seen. And by you, especially that you're running that facility, everyone's looking up to you. You are the one person that they know that's the highest person. They don't know anyone else above that. You are the key person. So by you just giving 5 seconds of your day or a few minutes to talk to them, give them that recognition, even in the stand-ups in the morning, allowing someone to know that, hey, I saw, you did that thing over there. Those are the little things that really allow your team to start growing and help you so much. And it costs you absolutely nothing. So here's the thing. Running a facility is a really, really tough job. And we've talked about a few of them already. You've got a lot of fires, a lot of things going on at the same time. You're bouncing from here to there. You don't have a lot of time to focus in on one thing. One of the hardest things is that you are getting emails, phone calls from customers, suppliers, carriers, your boss, the VPs, execs of what's going on, and you are getting blamed for a lot of this stuff. And then on top of that, you're also getting all the blame from everyone that's on the floor. You get squeezed every day, and it is tough. There is no question one of the hardest roles out there. How do you kind of eliminate that? So when we look at it, setting good expectations is one of the things that's going to set you up so that you're successful. Instead of that carrier calling up or a VP calling up and saying, hey, can you do this thing? And right away, you're like, that is not going to happen. That is so much work. Or, yeah, we're going to do that in like 6 months. Instead of just being like, yeah, yeah, we can do that. We'll take care of it. Don't worry about it, which I've seen a lot of. And it doesn't work out well for those people. Instead, coming back and setting realistic expectations and goals, being like, hey, you know what? This will be done in a month. And here's why, but here's the small wins you're going to get in between now and then. Might not be as happy, but at least then they know and they're not expecting that to be done tomorrow. And when they come and try to hold you accountable for what you told them, you can say, yeah, here's my goals. We're halfway there right now, just like what I had said. So making sure you set those expectations and that they're realistic. The next is using information and data and analytics. It's one of those things that's really going to set you apart and really springboard you into where you need to go. So if you have good data and analytics and being able to forecast a lot better for yourself, for your team, it's going to make your life a lot easier. That's really where Datadocs comes in. You're going to have a lot of historical information. Also through AI, you're going to be able to analyze a lot of what is happening in the past, but also what is going to happen in the future. Utilizing that so that you can make better educated guesses and also processes because you have that information. And that's really going to start helping you streamline things. That's also going to give people good answers and good communication of where we need to be and how we're going to get there. One of the most missed places in a whole warehouse is the docks. When you actually look at what's happening at the docks, you're going to start seeing some interesting trends. I can almost promise it. It's that you're going to have those peaks and valleys that are happening. So first thing in the morning, you're having a whole bunch of trucks come in. And then at lunchtime, a whole bunch of trucks. Afternoon, lull, nothing happening. And then at the end of the day. So you're looking at that and you're seeing what your team has to do and that stress level kind of moving as the day moves. So if you can level that out and make sure that all these loads are coming in at an equal time and uniform time, you can start making it so that your team's less stress, which again, that's employee retention and lowering turnover, kind of what we're talking about in the last point. And it's going to help your team be more efficient. And that's one of the biggest things. That's when Datadogs comes in, and we make sure that all your loads are spread out throughout the day. You're not getting those peaks and valleys. You get that visibility in your dock doors of what's happening so that you can actually put things away, leading to lower shrinkage, leading to less theft because you know what's coming in and out of your facility, and giving the visibility for not just your team, but for your customers and carriers. So one of the biggest questions people have when you start using dock scheduling software is, how am I going to get my carriers to actually utilize the software? It's one of those things we hear over and over again. And we also hear, my carriers or customers are not going to do this. Now, one of the biggest things is you have to show the value of what they're using. What they have to do today to book an appointment, or when they show up whenever they want, isn't working. And by doing that, they get to see what the repercussions are, which is way less time spent at your facility and quicker times to actually book appointments. They don't have to wait for your team to email or phone call back saying, yeah, bring that in. It could be the middle of the night. You can book these appointments, and it's going to streamline the whole process. On top of that, you are going to be able to hold them accountable, which is nice. So now you're going to be able to see your carriers, customers, and vendors and see how they're performing compared to other customers or carriers. But not only that, when they call up and they say, hey, it's taking me 4 hours to get through your facility, you get to say, well, actually, you are right. When you show up and not make any appointments, yeah, 4 hours. But by the stats we have right here, when you actually book an appointment, show up on time, you're in and out in under an hour. And those are the things that click into a carrier's head when they hear, hey, I can save 3 hours. Because sign me up, I want to save 3 hours every day on my schedule. Now you can go and take some of the things that we've talked about and apply them in your day-to-day to make your life a little bit easier. If you think the things we talked about today are going to help you out in your day-to-day, please like and subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to know more about Datadogs, I left a link below. Please contact us and we'd love to give you a demo. And finally, if turnover is one of the hardest things you're facing, I have done a video before about overtime and how to eliminate it. Click right here to see it.